sit back and let me share with you two of my favorite hikes from last summer. Skyscraper Mountain is an 8-mile hike in and out, starting at sunrise. Here is a map of the area. The route that I took is highlighted. This black bear crossed right behind me not long after I started out on the hike. I did take a side trip to Frozen Lake and saw some pikas. This gold-mantle ground squirrel poked his head out of his hole to say hello as I passed by. This feisty marmot was not far from Frozen Lake. As you pass through Berkeley Park, Mount Rainier looms above the burrows. It was a joy to see this checker spot on a marsh marigold. This is the view of Mount Rainier from Skyscraper Pass. There were great views of Observation Rock and Echo Rock. There were several of these blue butterflies around Skyscraper Pass. It is a bit of a scramble to the top of Skyscraper, but it's not too bad and well worth it. Near the summit, I was greeted by this fritillary. Here is Grand Park, viewed from the summit of Skyscraper. Notice how flat it is. This is Mount Rainier, also from the summit. The glacier you see coming down the mountain is the Winthrop Glacier. I couldn't end this part of the video without including Little Tahoma Peak. It's my favorite peak around the mountain. In August, I hiked to Mount Margaret from Johnston Ridge. This is about a 16-mile hike altogether. Here is a map of the Mount St. Helens area, and again I highlighted the route that I took. At around 4 miles there is an exceptional view of Spirit Lake with Mount Adams in the background. Here is a gold mantle ground squirrel peeking out from a blasted out stump. Between Harry's Ridge and Coldwater Peak is this cool natural arch that the trail goes through. When the arch is reached, there is an awesome view of Mount Adams through the arch. This is a fritillary on Pearly Everlasting. This odd-looking flower is called orange agoceras. I've only seen them growing in higher elevations. This little lake is St. Helens Lake. It's an awesome bowl-shaped lake, and those are logs floating on the water. Here is a great view of Mount St. Helens, with logs that were blasted out in the 1980 eruption in the foreground. Here's another fritillary on Pearly Everlasting. That is Mount Hood in the background with more logs from the 1980 eruption. Most of this hike offers great views of Mount St. Helens. That is Mount Rainier, bigger than life in the background. In the foreground is the awesome landscape of this backcountry. Here we have a Satyr on Pearly Everlasting. Pearly Everlasting was pretty much the only flower that I saw blooming along the hike as it was August. All through the backcountry there are lush green meadows, like this one viewed from the top of Mount Margaret. This is the Geological Survey marker at the top of Mount Margaret. On the way back, I saw this solitary mountain goat along the trail. This is my favorite view of the whole hike, with St. Helens Lake in the foreground, then Spirit Lake, and then Mount St. Helens in the background. I hope you have enjoyed these glimpses of my two favorite hikes from last summer: Skyscraper Mountain at Mount